Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have another game here from Team NV, this time from Rossi. It's going to be a TVP on Derelict Watcher, one of the newest ladder maps from Heart of the Swarm. His opponent, spawning as the blue Protoss in the lower left of the map, represents Team Clarity Gaming. His name is SaroVati, and he's recently had a bit of success as a Canadian player entering the Alienware Pro-Am back in January earlier this year, where he took out Cats 2-0, then went on to take out QXC 2-1, before eliminating Vibe 3-0 and falling to Grubby in the grand finals, so taking second place in a pretty stacked tournament. Now, Rossi was recently matched up against him on the ladder, and he's representing Team NV as the red Terran in the upper right. So, do you know of any particular builds or strategies or styles that have been particularly suited to this map? I know it's a very new one on the scene. What do you reckon, Death?
It kind of favors a lot of multi-prong. It's really kind of hard to hold your third on this map, especially if you sort of keep going around like the left or the right side of the base of the map, depending on where you spawn. It's a very open map, so there's a lot of like open spaces, particularly in front of your natural, and then it sort of becomes a lot more cramped as you sort of head in towards the middle, and that it's really interesting because you can sort of force engagements in different parts of the map depending on how you're playing, and there's a lot of really cool features about the map too, like as you start going around the bottom and the top of the map, there's those ramps with debris stacked on top of them, and there's the watchtowers, and I really like the watchtower placements as well. They give you some vision but not all around the sides, but there's no like middle of the map, here's a watchtower or two. You don't really have to do any scouting now. I actually quite like the map. I'm not sure if it's balanced, but it's a lot of fun to play on.
That's a pretty good summary. Now, you were speaking about the watchtowers just before, highlighting the fact that they show you the outskirts of the map, which is conventionally pretty different from what we've seen in previous maps generated by Blizzard, where the watchtower kind of covers the main avenue of where all the combat or the combat positions happen. So I mean, this kind of new culture in watchtower placement, we first saw it on Akalon Wastes, where the center watchtowers were removed from the map, and now we're seeing that sort of style replicated here on Derelict Watcher. Do you think this is something we're going to see, stick around? Do you think this is going to be a permanent change in map making?
Well, if you have to have watchtowers on the map, and there are some maps now where map makers are just going, nah, we don't even need them anymore. Why would we have them? But if you want to have them, and they are pretty cool, I don't want to see them disappear completely. If you have to have them, I feel like having them in those sorts of positions where you can hold them for some information around the edges of the maps and protect yourself against drops or sneaky counterattacks and stuff, I think it's pretty cool. And they actually become more useful the longer the game goes on, if you think about it, because at the start of the game you're not really worrying about the edge of the map, but as the game goes later and later, those bases become more and more and more important, and holding those positions and having vision of those areas of the map is even more important. So that's really cool to me, and I'd love to see more of it, and I'm just really happy that we've got this map, at least in the ladder pool. Not a big fan of the other ones that they introduced recently.
They're a bit strange.
Especially that Clontis Maya one.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's the one with the super narrow choke that you can block with a depot, right?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's so strange.
It's actually like Scrap Station.
Yes.
10 times worse.
Exactly. It's like his Scrap Station with a tiny bridge. You know how there was like that pipe that connected the bases on Scrap Station, and people joked that you could walk across that pipe? It's basically what they've done. They're just letting you walk across the Scrap Station pipe now.
It's just like that they figured out that Scrap Station was completely imbalanced, so they were like, all right, we're removing it. 2 years later.
Welcome back, Scrap Station.
Again. Let's give it another shot.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it feels.
Rossi has gone up to a very standard opening. He's got his gas. He got his factory up. It was a delayed gas, so on 15, and he got his command center and a bunker. So he's completely safe, and SaroVati in response has gone for his own expansion, while choosing to make only 2 stalkers. And he's also delayed his mothership core, and that's allowed him to get a Stargate out a little bit faster, and he's making Phoenixes, which is a little bit curious that he's not making Oracles or even Void Rays and going for a rush. He's choosing to go for Phoenixes, and this will allow him to have really nice map control. He's going to have complete vision over Rossi's base. He can shut down drops. And when he does inevitably scout with a couple of Phoenixes, he's going to see that Rossi is going for this sort of 1-1-1. He can get a Medivac now and go for a very strong drop with a couple of Widow Mines and Marines. In response, SaroVati is probably going to have to get an Oracle so he can get vision if Rossi manages to land Widow Mines in his mineral line.
Yeah. Now, one really interesting thing about this build is SaroVati has opted, as you pointed out, to get the Mothership Core later so that he could get Phoenixes sooner. Generally, the objective here as a Protoss player when you're going for a 1-gate expand is to get your Mothership Core out as fast as possible, typically after you've started Warp Gate research on that first Stalker, so it times out beautifully that the Nexus finishes just as your Mothership Core accumulates 100 energy. Now, we see just now, at this very second, the Mothership Core has accumulated enough energy for that Nexus cannon, which means up until this very second, he's been extremely vulnerable to any sort of early Marine Marauder play.
He curiously moved it out to the periphery, and Rossi is coming up here. He's got his 2 Widow Mines. They are burrowing. The Phoenixes aren't as useful as he would like. He's got 4 Phoenixes now. The Mothership Core is going to be able to cast the cannon, but it gets taken out. Oh, he gets a force field. That's a really nice force field. SaroVati is going to be able to clean up these Marines and take out this Medivac.
Phoenix is really shining on denying the retreat of Rossi there, and one thing that would have impressed me beyond belief would have been if he actually managed to pick up those mines before they burrowed. How sick would that have been, right?
That would have been pretty cool, but he would have exposed his Phoenixes to a bit too much Marine fire, and they're really important units when you go for them in this sort of quantity this early in the game. He's even making more. He's going up to 5 Phoenix. Rossi is only getting 1 missile turret in each mineral line now. That's not actually enough, I feel like. He doesn't have enough Marines to be able to deal with this. And yes, SaroVati is going to be able to pick up a lot of these units, even picking up a Marauder and just like tickling it a bit. Just giving it a little bit of a hug. He does take it out eventually. And Rossi moves up his Marines. Now SaroVati has seen everything. He knows Rossi is building from 3 barracks. He's got the 2 tech labs for his upgrades. One thing that Rossi doesn't have much of is upgrades. He's only getting +1 now. It's almost halfway done. And he's also been denied one of his gases. Now SaroVati going into the natural, getting a couple more SCVs and just getting out, hasn't even lost much HP on those Phoenixes at all. Just the shields.
If we look at the expansion of SaroVati, we can see he's actually positioning individual probes on top of that mine to bait the fire. That mine has now killed, I think it was 2 Stalkers and now 4 probes as he's waited for detection. So I think he's actually forgotten that you can use the Oracle's Envision skill to see the mines, so he's actually waited till he got an observer out.
Yeah, it's either that or he literally wanted to just accumulate a fleet of Phoenix and not have to worry about spending 150 gas on an Oracle. Because it is a pretty big investment just to get some vision. But I mean, at the same time, an Oracle is so useful because you can cast the Envision on the Terran army and just have vision for so long. And now he's got these Phoenixes positioned such that he can literally pick up units as they exit the barracks.
As Rossi moved out for this push, we actually saw him forced to use the speed boost on those Medivacs just to get them out of the base safely. Otherwise, the Phoenixes would have picked him off. So it's actually playing a really interesting role in this matchup that we don't see very often. Oh yeah.
This is really interesting. SaroVati making full use of those Phoenixes. Going up to 7.
Wow.
Rossi dropping into the main now, and that is going to be able to do lots of damage. He takes out the Immortal basically straight away, taking out all those sentries. The probe's now having to come out. Oh, this is looking really bad for SaroVati. He's in a lot of trouble now. The Mothership Core did not manage to get a cannon out, and now SaroVati has to pick up individual bio forces and use those Phoenixes to clean them up one by one.
Oh, the
a Colossus is going to be able to... Oh, it gets cancelled. And can Rossi take out that robotics bay? If he can, this is game over. Wow. He gets it.
That's painful.
Rossi is now getting his 3rd up. He's got his 5 barracks pumping forces, and he's killed all the probes from the natural, and he's still going. I can't believe those Marauders are still alive. They're literally on 1 HP. He's still going to be able to... He cancels a Twilight Council as well. This is just getting ridiculous now.
The Phoenixes have been following them around for so long, just begging to have enough energy to pick them up. They just could not contribute anything. It's a bit sad.
This is just, yeah, I mean, SaroVati did really nicely with those Phoenix, but just Rossi's drop just absolutely demolished him. He needed his Phoenix to be united with his army in order to defend that push, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah. I think a few very, very small oversights really hurt SaroVati in this game. I mean, after that very first push from Rossi, where SaroVati lost the mothership core, he completely neglected to replace it until Rossi was right on his doorstep. So of course he did not have enough energy for that mothership core. Sorry, the Nexus cannon.
Yeah. Now, Rossi is just going to go for one final push, it looks like, while SaroVati is trying to make something happen, sitting on those production facilities. But Rossi is very smartly adding another 2 missile turrets in front of his barracks. SaroVati getting some nice force fields out, but Rossi does have a medivac there he can use to elevator mines into play. But SaroVati does have an observer there. Rossi is going to be able to land mines on the top of the ramp and burrow them there, which will be useful. As he can get some units up to the front and maybe lure the Protoss forces. The big ... coming out. He's like, I don't know, maybe he's just not happy that the game's not over yet.
I think he really wants to get up that ramp.
Yeah.
Now, a cool move there was the Observer actually managed to highlight the mines so that the Phoenixes could pick them up very quickly before the mines took out the Phoenixes. So that was a pretty cool move there.
Rossi managed to snipe one of those Phoenixes. A little bit careless by SaroVati. Those sentries are on such low HP, such low energy, he can't get those force fields out that he needs. The probes are being pulled. The mana mules come down. The zealots are being warped in. This might, SaroVati might be able to clean the bio forces up, actually. But no, I think, yeah, there's just too much firepower here, and the reinforcements are knocking. There's this huge stream of red coming across the map, and there's the GG.
I gotta say, that was some really cool stylistic play from SaroVati. I feel like this is probably, him inventing a new style for himself to use, and he's kind of still, working out the kinks in that play. Because I can see so much potential in what he was doing. There was just a few very, very small errors that could have, or obviously did really, really slip the favor into Rossi's side of the court. So
he was a bit too aggressive with the Phoenix. If he had just united them with the rest of his forces and held off Rossi's aggression, then he's got this really unique advantage because he can start transitioning into Colossus. And the thing is, Rossi can sort of try and make Vikings, but Phoenix Colossus has so much HP that the Colossus is going to be able to have the time to kill everything on the ground. The Phoenix will kill all the Vikings and then start lifting things up. It also shuts down drops and kills medivacs in the actual engagement. So it's a really strong style. What is the counter is ghosts. And if Rossi was able to get some nice ghosts out, it would have looked different again. But yeah, I'd actually really like to see a rematch between these two players.
Yeah, me too. I want to see more from them. Now, quick shout out to Clarity Gaming for having Moonglade stay at their house for his duration in New York City for the WCS round of 16 in America this week. So thanks to Clarity Gaming. We'll have some more games from Team NV and CG very soon. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.